First Appointment and Equity Committee meeting today is Tuesday, December 3rd. Council Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Call the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. I do want to acknowledge that Councilman Jones did let us know that he'll be running a little bit behind this morning, but due to the heavy agenda, I want to get started right away. Do we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one is signed in.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 4th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. We'll start with the first item. If you'll read it into the record, Madam Clerk.
Resolution number 2019-0264, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various mayors to serve on the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission, representing various regions for the term 1/1/2020 to 12/31/2022.
Director Pomerantz, will you give us a little bit of background?
Sure. The 11-member County Planning Commission is structured and established through Ohio Revised Code Section 713.21 and comprised of 3 county representatives, 8 representatives of the county's planning regions who are appointed by the executive, except for the City of Cleveland representative who is appointed by the Mayor of Cleveland. We are pleased to recommend Mayor Anthony DeSico for the Hillcrest region for a 3-year term, 1/1/2020 to 12/31/2022. The Hillcrest region includes the cities of Beechwood, Euclid, Gates Mills, Highland Heights, Lyndhurst, Mayfield Heights, Mayfield Village, Pepper Pike, Richmond Heights, and South Euclid. We're also hoping to reappoint Pamela Bobst, who is the mayor of Rocky River for the West Shore region. Also a 3-year term beginning 1/1/2020 until 12/31/2022. And the new director of the Planning Commission, Sean Menninger, is here. And the West Shore region includes Bay Village, Fairview Park, Lakewood, North Olmsted, Rocky River, and Westlake. And Mayor DeSico has been able to be here with us today. Unfortunately, we found out this morning that Mayor Pam Bobst is ill and is not able to join us.
All right. Thank you very much for the background. I'll open it up to my committee. Do you have any questions for the director regarding the Planning Commission? There being none, Mayor, if you'll please step forward, state your name for the record, give us a brief background of why you'd like to continue to serve.
Good morning, Anthony DeSico, Mayor of Mayfield Heights. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to be considered for reappointment to the commission. I've really enjoyed my time. It's been a pleasure working with the members and kind of opening my eyes a little bit to the county government. Being from a small city, it's been a great experience, and I think that the Planning Commission has really strengthened my belief that we're all in this together, the county and all the cities in the county. And I think it's made me a better mayor and Planning Commission member in the city of Mayfield Heights with the experience I've gained here. And I think that makes Mayfield Heights a better member of the county also. Strengthened, I think we're only as good as the sum of our parts, and I think it's helped me in Mayfield Heights, and I think that helps the county also. I was on the Planning Commission for 7 years in Mayfield Heights, council president for 2 years, and mayor for 7 also, and councilman for 6 years. So some of that experience I think has helped me here, but I think really a lot of the experiences here have helped me at home too. So that is what I have, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you.
All right. Thank you very much. I would like to state for the record, I do serve on the Planning Commission and have had the privilege of working with both Mayor DeSico and Mayor Bobst, and they both have demonstrated a sincere desire to serve on this board and commission. So I'll open it up to my colleagues if they have any questions. All right. Well, It looks like you are getting off easy today, Mayor.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and I
Thank you.
appreciate you coming down.
Oh, you're welcome.
It is important to this body and to the public to be able to put names with faces as they come before this commission. So your time and your willingness to serve in this capacity is greatly appreciated. So thank you for your willingness to continue to serve. If there are no further questions, then I'll make the motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension, because I do know that we have a meeting coming up, I think in December, real soon. So it won't really affect us because they're already serving. So we can move this on under 3 readings, actually. Would you agree, Councilman Miller?
It looks like their term begins 1/1/20, so we should do second reading
Second reading.
suspension so
Okay.
that they can start when their term starts.
All right. Our unofficial parliamentarian, Councilman Miller, we yield to him to make sure we are following the rules of order properly. So I will move this under second reading suspension to the full
Second.
body of the council. It's been moved in second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Council Clerk,
Madam
will you
Chair.
read the next
Thank-
item into the record?
Resolution number 2019-0265, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Public Library Board of Trustees for various terms.
All right. Director Pomerantz, you're up again.
Thank you. Cuyahoga County Public Library is a separate political subdivision, and it's governed by a 7-member Board of Trustees. Board members are appointed for 7-year terms by the Cuyahoga County government and the Court of Common Pleas. Board members serve without remuneration and are responsible for promoting the highest level of public library service to residents of the 47 communities we serve. And I wanted to let you know that the president of the board, we're excited to reappoint Ms. Patricia Shalansky. She is here today, as well as the executive director for Cuyahoga County Library, Ms. Tracy Struble, for any questions. Mr. Blakemore did send a letter, and that, I think you have a copy of it at your desk. And again, these reappointments are for a 7-year term. Mr. Blakemore's is 1/1/2020 to 12/31/2026. And Ms. Slansky is 7-year term, 2/1/2020 to 1/31/2027. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee, are there any questions for the director? There being none, Ms. Shalansky, if you'll please step forward, state your name for the record, and express share with us your background and why you'd like to continue to serve.
Good morning, committee members
Good
and
morning.
Chair Brown. I'm Patty Shalansky, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to tell you why I'd like to continue to serve on the board of the Cuyahoga County Public Library. When I originally came in front of County Council 7 years ago, I talked about my love of reading, my passion for libraries, and the fact that I spent most of my childhood and college years in libraries. None of that has changed. I'm a voracious reader, and have been all of my life. I maintain a book blog where I review the books that I read, and I post almost weekly. I really believe that my interest in reading stems from the time I spent in public libraries as a child. I think that libraries play an important role in educating young people, preparing them for their future, and opening their minds to a world of possibilities. In some cases, the library is the only place that people of all ages can go for access to books and music and computers, simply to learn and to expand their minds. I attribute much of my professional success and personal well-being to my ability to read and analyze, which started with my visits to the library. And I want to ensure that the opportunities that I had are available in the future. But now that I've spent a term on the library board, I realize that libraries do much more than I previously understood. The library benefits the community in so many different ways. It's public meeting spaces, adult education, passport services, author visits, writing centers, children's programs, just to name a few. The library has programs from every stage of life, from newborns to seniors. The library has engaged in a variety of collaborations with community partners, which further benefits our communities. I view the Cuyahoga County Public Library as an institution that works to solve the root causes of many of the problems that we have in our communities. It has consistently ranked as one of the nation's best and busiest library systems, and for the past 10 years, it's earned a 5-star rating by Library Journal's Index of Public Library Services. For the past 2 years, I've been fortunate to serve as the board president. When our prior executive director, Sari Feldman, announced her retirement, I led a national search for the next executive director. One candidate stood out among the others as the best person to lead the system into the future, and that's Tracy Strobel, our current director, who's here with me today. Under Tracy's guidance, I know that the library system will remain innovative and continue to enhance the quality of life in the communities that the library serves, and I want to continue to be a part of that process. You've asked me to explain the credentials and experience I would bring to the board. I've been privileged to serve on a number of nonprofit boards over my career, including Cuyahoga County Public Library, so I'm familiar with board service. I've served as a board chair, a vice chair, and led a number of nonprofit committees. I've been involved in governance, human resources, and financial issues. I've helped merge more than one nonprofit when that was in the best interests of both organizations. Professionally, I'm an attorney at the law firm of Ulmer & Byrne, where I'm a partner. I serve as the partner in charge of our Cleveland office, which is the firm's largest office. In that role, I oversee the day-to-day operations of the Cleveland office. I also serve on our firm's management committee, which is a 7-person committee with responsibility for managing all aspects of the firm's operations across 5 offices. I have experience making tough decisions, working with different types of personalities, and reaching consensus. Some decisions are not always popular. I've learned to respond, hopefully productively, to disagreement. And finally, perhaps most importantly, I'm a regular user of the library. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want to thank you for your consideration of my appointment to the board of the Cuyahoga County Public Library.
Well, I thank you very much, Ms. Schlalansky, for your willingness to serve in this capacity. I was just thumbing through your resume, which is an extensive amount of experience, very impressive. I am so grateful that you took the time to come before this committee today and to express your sincere desire to continue to serve. It's obvious why you were selected, and I certainly support the county executive's nomination, given your wealth of experience. I'd like to open it up to my colleagues if you have any questions. Councilwoman Conwell.
Good morning, and through the chair to Ms. Shalansky. Parents consider libraries as a safe place for their children. Just wondered was there a discussion amongst the board regarding additional safety plans in light of the shooting that occurred at the CPL library?
We talk about security at board meetings fairly regularly, and in fact, at our past meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, we had a security assessment presented to us, so we're fairly comfortable with the security that we have, and we are very aware of the issues that affect all public libraries.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and just to point out, there's cybersecurity and privacy on here as part of your expertise and experience, which I think is also advantageous. One of the things that comes to mind, though, is recently, I believe it was the Columbus Library took issue with some e-books that a new protocol that's being set. Do you have some familiarity? Can you touch on that just a little bit?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're referencing, but you could be referencing the situation with Macmillan, where they're limiting the number of e-books that will be available to libraries for the first 6 to 8 weeks of issuance, and we're very aware of it. We as a system have been actively working in opposition to it, but I don't think that that's going to make a lot of difference to the publisher.
All right, good to know. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right. Well, I, first of all, again, want to thank you for coming. I do want to enter an amendment. While Mr. Blakemore did submit a letter, I think it's important to this body that the individuals that are coming before us do take the time to share their experience and their desire to continue to serve in these capacities. So I like to move this forward to the full body of the council under second reading suspension with Ms. Patricia Shalansky only. So I want to make that amendment. Do I have a second for that? All right, it's been moved in second. Are there no questions?
Can I ask Michelle, through the chair to Ms. Pomerantz, who is the board chair?
Ms.
Ms.
Shalansky.
Shalansky. Okay.
Okay, so are there any other questions? All right, so the motion has been made to amend. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, all in favor to move this, make the motion to move this forward to the full body of the council under second reading suspension as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, our next item, we are going to also hold, as I understand, Ms. Augusta, who we do have some familiarity with, was unable to attend, but again, with the same consideration that we're putting forward with Mr. Blakemore, I would like to hold that item to our next committee meeting. So if you'll read item D, Council Clerk.
Resolution number 2019-0279, authorizing and ratifying the structure for payment of compensation to 33 county employees whose base salaries exceed the maximum for the applicable salary ranges for their respective positions.
All right, if you will state your name for the record and give us a little bit of background, Ms. Woods.
Good morning, Holly Woods, Director of HR for Benefits and Compensation. So some background on this. In January of this year, a 2% general wage increase was issued for all executive agency employees. In March, the PRC came before council to have the non-bargaining salary ranges approved for 2019. This was approved at the end of the month in March. And this included not moving the ranges for 2019, and this decision was in line with HR's recommendation based on compensation best practices that salary ranges should not move at the same rate as general wage increases. So, each year, World at Work Organization, which is a total rewards association, publishes their study on range movement and salary increase budgets. And the data shows that increases in salary range movement don't always move at the same pace. They shouldn't always move at the same pace. While some companies do adjust their ranges annually, it tends to be a fraction of what they're giving for their increases, or they tend to adjust biannually. So we will evaluate annually on where we are with the market and where those ranges should move. But for that year, we did request and move forward with a hold on those salary ranges. So as a result of the salary ranges being approved 3 months after the general wage increase took place, this did put 33 employees over their salary range maximum for 2019. And so we're requesting through this resolution two parts. For 2019, it's to allow those 33 impacted employees' salaries to be over the maximum of their salary range as a result of that 2% general wage increase that occurred in January. And then the second part is, since HR is aware that the PRC is looking to increase the non-bargaining salary ranges by 2% for 2020, we're requesting that council grant HR approval to bring those employees to the new maximum of the range, but not allow them to go over it. Any overage amount would be paid to them in a lump sum. So they'd still get that 2% increase, but it would take them to the top of the range and the rest would be paid at a lump sum amount. And again, this is consistent with best practices in compensation and how other organizations approach it when their employees are reaching or exceeding the maximum salary range.
Okay, thank you very much. We did discuss this, Councilman Miller and I, in another meeting, so we were aware that this was coming before us. However, the concern I think that we have is how do we prevent this from happening moving forward, or can you touch on what we did in the past so that because this is a kind of a new thing?
Correct. So yes, it is a new thing. So historically, the ranges always move, and I believe they're always moving at the same pace as the general increase, which is why this hasn't occurred in the past. But again, that's not consistent with best compensation practices. When you continue to move your salary range at the same pace as your general increases amounts, you're offsetting your ranges so they're no longer in alignment with market. When we look at our salary ranges, we see that our salary ranges are competitive. They're even higher than other organizations, what the market shows for positions. So if we continue to move those salary ranges at the same pace as salary increases, employees don't have any range penetration. Our ranges, the midpoint of our range is in alignment with market values for the positions that fall into those ranges. And if you continue to move that up at the pace that we are, our positions are no longer in alignment with the market rate. They start to fall below it because that range is moving moving forward so much. So I can't say that this will never happen again. And again, this is in alignment with compensation practices. It's typical if you have people at the height of your range and you're moving your ranges at a slower pace, you typically pay them out in a lump sum amount if you're not moving at that same pace. So annually, we would evaluate where our ranges are and what that movement should be. And just like for 2020, we do need to move the range the 2%. There won't be an impact, but we would look at this and again at 2020 in advance of that increase to be able to determine where that should be and what the potential impact if we don't move it again.
Okay, I'd like the record to reflect that Councilman Jones is present. Before I open it up to my colleagues, what is the financial impact?
So to clarify the financial impact, they're still getting paid out the 2% amount, but it's a lump sum instead of being added to that. Let's see if I have a total. Are you asking specifically about the total amount of the lump sum payments?
For the 33 employees.
I don't know that I have that with me, but I can get that for you.
I'll open it up to my colleagues. Councilman Gallagher.
You speak of range. Who's in that range? Public, private, or separate? Are you combining both of them? Or are you using this group in the public setting?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
What are you basing your numbers on? Private sector, public sector, or both?
Market?
Yeah.
Our goal is to do it with public sector, but of course there's positions outside of public sector, so at times we are looking at both. But our goal is always to look at comparable organizations in size, in stature, in positions. But again, not all public organizations will have similar positions. And so at times we do have to look at private as well. And we do adjustments for that because it's not going to be a one-to-one comparison if we're looking at a private organization.
So who's comparable to us in the public sector?
Your organizations, and I'm going to bring up my compensation manager, Rhonda Caldwell.
Sorry, getting all over a cold. My name is Rhonda Caldwell. And in regards to the market survey data, we, as Holly mentioned, we participate in paid surveys where we have the opportunity to order a cut of data, if you will, that is either public sector or nonprofit, can be combined in that public sector piece, government entities.
Can you speak a little closer to the mic?
There are various agencies throughout the country. These are national surveys, so we have the ability to cut that data down to Ohio, typically, so they would be government agencies within Ohio.
Who is comparable to us? Franklin, Hamilton?
Whoever participates in the survey. So,
Who
I would have
participates?
to look back at the actual survey to get the list of participants.
Because my concern is you can skew it, and I think you should be strictly on public or private, depending on where you're coming from. Because I highly doubt the private sector ever involves public sector when they're talking about compensation.
But here's the thing, when you're locally competing for talent here, where are we getting our talent from? Are we strictly getting it from other county agencies, or are we hiring people from the private sector? I would say that it's a combination of both. You know, when you're looking at the market, when you're actually looking at market to acquire talent, where are you getting your talent from? You're going to get your talent from the local market here in Cuyahoga County, which has a lot of private industry as well.
Right, but I've ever since this new government's been formed, it's always been a mystery to me. We've never, and I've been an employee with the county now over 40 years, We've always had no problem getting talent here, no problem taking jobs, finding competent people. Only till recently, we've been talking about things, you know, to attract talent. The thing that attracts talent is the retirement system that's afforded. That attracts talent, and that's never been a problem. But seemingly, just until recent past, we've had to do interesting things to attract talent, which I've completely disagreed with, and I think a lot of other people have also. So I think when we're projecting what we're going to pay people and what they're worth, you have to factor all that in. I'm sure you do. But as far as attracting talent, I don't see it. I don't see people not wanting to work here for what we offer. So I think it could be skewed if you start adding too much of the private or the private sector in there. It's just, that's why I said Franklin or Hamilton, comparable counties such as ourselves.
To the chair, to the committee, agree, and that's why our goal is to look at comparable organizations, but there are going to be times where, one, the survey data does not provide a comparable organization, so we do have to take into account a private entity, which again, we're not going to base it solely on what the private entity is paying those positions. But I would say also that while our generation, your generations were focused on retirement and a good retirement system, the generations of today are not necessarily focused on a good retirement system. They're looking at benefit packages and total rewards. So there is a shift in what people are looking for an employer, and we do want to ensure that we are attracting a variety and a diverse group of talent. And so we do have to look at more of, we have a great retirement system, even though we don't pay as much, we want to have a great blend of everything to have a good total rewards package, and that's why we look at all of the data. But again, our goal is to focus on like entities, because they are drastically different in some of the things that we offer and the programs that we have.
Thank you very much. I was going to say, I think we could go back and forth with this probably for quite some time. It is evident that the public sector's retirement package is very attractive and has historically been one of the things that attracts people to our to government jobs. To the councilman's point, this is not the private sector, so sometimes those things have been used seemingly arbitrarily to this body to attract talent that maybe is not a good fit for government. So I can assure you, as the chairwoman of this body, that we are going to work collaboratively with HR and the PRC to make sure that we get this compensation and salary range aligned so that it is reflective of the work of government and that we do not run into these situations in the future. So I do respectfully request that our staff, as well as the PRC and your staff, come together in the very near future so we can discuss how we can prevent this from happening in the future. Is that okay? Is that fair?
Right, and I just want to say, believe me, I know things have changed, so it's not the same old world that I was brought up in, and you have to adjust on the fly. I get that, but thank you, Chairwoman. I appreciate that.
No. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? I'll start with Councilwoman Conwell and then Mr. Jones.
Through the chair to Ms. Woods, and going forward, because I'm just trying to understand this a little bit, and going forward with the pay range movement, how will this impact these employees that are at the ceiling now?
So the request is, we do know that the pay ranges are going to be moved 2% for 2020, as well as a 2% increase. So we would give those employees the 2% increase, capping it so that anybody that would then be at the top of their range, anything over that, they would get in a lump sum payment instead of added to their base salary.
Okay, and so the next time that you do pay range adjustments, we'd have to do the same thing for these employees?
We would only have to do that again if we didn't move the pay range. So for 2020, everybody would be within their salary range. And so it would just depend on what 2021 would look like. If we move the range at the same pace, we would not be back here again.
Are any of these 33 employees near retirement?
I don't know.
Okay, you can get that for us. Thank you.
Councilman Jones? Okay, all right. And I think it's a good question that Councilwoman Conwell brings up with regards to the timing as it relates to some of the employees, because while we didn't discuss that at great length, my intuition or discernment tells me that some of these individuals may be longer serving or have a lengthier tenure, which is part of the reason they were put in this position, reaching their maximum salary. So if you would provide that to this body, I think that will be important before we make our final decision for our next council meeting. So want to know the impact, the total impact, and how many of these 33 employees will be eligible for retirement, I guess, over the next 2 years. Does that suffice for you, Councilwoman Conwell? All right, are there any further questions from the committee? All right, if there are none, and I do want to say for the record, these are positions that are throughout the county, not one specific department.
Correct.
All right. Okay, so I will move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second? Second. It's been moved in second. Are there any additional questions, comments, or concerns? There being none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. This will move to the full body of the council. If you'll read the next item into the record, Council Clerk.
Resolution number 2019-0280, making an award on requisition number 45619 to Med Mutual Life Insurance Company in the amount not to exceed $5,400,368 for group life, voluntary life, and accidental death insurance for county employees for the period 1/1/2020 to 12/31/2022.
Ms. Woods.
Yes, Holly Woods, Director of HR for Benefits and Comp. So we issued an RFP in June of this year for the life insurance renewal. There were 5 proposals that were submitted from different entities. Our current provider for the life insurance is Guardian Life Insurance. As a result of the RFP process, the county is recommending that we award this new contract to Medical Mutual for the next 3-year term. Both Guardian and Medical Mutual were approached for a last best final offer in our process. And overall, Medical Mutual is giving us overall a 12% decrease in our rates. So that's spread out over the supplemental life specifically that employees can purchase. They maintain the cost for the life insurance that the county provides to employees. In addition, we've increased the amount that we are providing for county employees. So overall, it is a lower cost to employees for the supplemental life that they purchased and maintaining the same cost for the county. However, we did increase the benefit there currently for what we provide for our basic life insurance.
Okay, I think I recall that during our open enrollment. Is that
Correct.
Okay, all right. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? Going once, going twice? All right. Get off easy on this one. So I'll move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no additional comments or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. If you'll read the next item into the record, Madam Clerk.
Resolution number 2019-0281, making an award on requisition number 45619 to the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America in the amount not to exceed $9,848,526 for dental insurance for county employees and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2020 to 12/31/2022.
All right.
Okay,
Ms.
Holly
Woods.
Woods again. So
Welcome
again,
back, welcome
an RFP was issued June 6th for the dental renewal. There were 9 proposals submitted by different entities. We have recommended that the county stay with Guardian for dental coverage. Guardian does provide our dental coverage today. This plan continues to offer the best discounts for services for county employees. So looking at them, we did have 2 entities that we approached for last best final offer, but in the end, Guardian did provide the best discount for those services and no change in services for our employees.
Was there an increase, decrease, or is it the same?
There is a slight increase. We have had some high claims years in dental, so we did end at a 3% increase in the dental costs. Through negotiations, we started at a 9% increase, but ended up at 3% with Guardian.
All right. Are there any questions, Councilman Miller?
What was the other company that made a final and best offer?
It was Delta Dental.
Okay, a regular.
Councilman Jones?
Is Guardian Life a local company or they?
Guardian, yes, I do believe they are local.
County.
I'll have to double check if it's county, but I do believe they are in Cuyahoga County.
I'd like to know.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns, gentlemen? All right, there being none, we will move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Ms. Johnson, if you'll read the next item.
Resolution number 2019-0282, making an award on requisition number 45619 to Vision Service Plan in the amount not to exceed $1,823,399 for vision insurance for county employees and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2020 to 12/31/2022.
It is the Hollywood show.
It is
All
today.
right, there
Got to
we
get it
go.
all in before the year end.
Yes.
So this is a vision renewal for 2020. Again, a 3-year contract. We did an RFP in June. 7 proposals were submitted. We have recommended that the county stay with VSP for the vision insurance coverage. There is no proposed increase in their costs. However, the county did elect to enhance the benefit plan at no additional cost to employees. VSP was the only company approached for last best final offer. Other companies did have lower renewal rates and premiums, but the benefits were drastically different in their offerings. So for example, it might be smaller networks, lower allowance for frames and contacts. And so overall, as we evaluated those costs, even though it was a decrease in cost, it was significantly negatively impacting the benefits that we provide. So we did just approach VSP for that last best final offer.
And we did have another provider who, prior to that, can you touch on that?
Yes, so for, previously we had Union Eye Care, but Union Eye Care declared bankruptcy. And so we have just had VSP now for almost the full second half of the year. And we did evaluate when we did this RFP if we should have 2 vision entities. It's not common for organizations to have 2 different entities. Sometimes companies will have a vision plan and they have 2 vision plans that employees can choose from. So again, we did look at should we have more than 1 vision plan, a higher level and a lower level. But again, the cost differential and the benefits did not show that it was worth it to separate and have an additional plan.
All right. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee regarding VSP's contract? All right, so a slight increase, you said?
So this one, now we started at it was a decrease. It was a decrease and we did increase, even with the increase to the, we increased the benefit allowance. So it is a lower, let me make sure I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Let me verify real quick.
So if I understood you, the services, the plans are a little bit higher, but the cost benefits were less.
Yeah, and I think it ended up being the same because they gave us a decrease in overall cost, but we increased the plan allowance.
Okay.
So I think it ended up being just a break even because we increased it. Yes, so there's no impact to cost for employees. The county's paying the same amount because they were previously going to give us a lower amount, but again, we increased that benefit.
Okay. All right. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, then I will move this to the full body of the council. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any miscellaneous business, gentlemen? There being none, this meeting is adjourned. All right, thank you all.